Hey guys, if you're tired of shopping on Amazon and the big box stores for cheap quality landscape lighting, then go and check out lightingdoctor.ca, where we only sell premium quality fixtures that we actually install, and you can actually have the chance to go and test it and feel it for yourself with our try it before you buy it offer, where you can get a premium quality landscape light at a discounted rate and go and test it out with a battery pack around your property. Keep it for 14 days. If you love it, you get to keep it at the discounted rate. If not, you send it back for a full refund. And then you just have to buy the lights that you need after that. So go and check out our try it before you buy it lights and see what a real premium quality landscape lighting fixture should look like at lightingdoctor.ca. Hey, Steve, thanks for sending the pictures here. Great property. I love areas in California that got the big trees like this, because I think there's some really cool things you can do. So I'll give you a couple ideas and we can just kind of go from there. But where I'd like to see a focus is on some of the larger trees you have in the yard here. I think you could really make those look spectacular. I would definitely focus on some of the brickwork and whatnot you have, as well as a little bit on the walkways and some things like that, which I will also show you. So if I'm looking at this whole project and we kind of start to zoom in on some things, I would definitely try, and I'm just gonna try and see where the pictures are. Yeah, so I would definitely try and use some accent lights. So I'll talk about the accent lights. I'll call them either an accent light or an uplight. Something like this guy here to highlight a lot of the brickwork that you have along the house. So especially on a nice chimney area like this, I would almost use two of those uplights that I just showed you. Probably have them about 18 inches back or so, and have them almost shining straight up on both sides of the chimney here. I'm assuming is a chimney, and really make that stand out. And then I would kind of follow that theme across the front of the house a little bit. So on both sides of these windows here, you kind of have these smaller sections of brickwork. I would try and light those up for sure. And then I would probably, I just want to get a good view. Yeah, so on both of these kind of columns in between the windows, I would definitely do that. And if you wanted to keep the theme consistent, you could also do it in that middle one. The other option that you could do is you just focus on the three larger areas. So for example, you have, the reason I like doing that is because you have the chimney lit up. It's really your focal point, and then you're just lighting up some smaller brick areas in between the windows, and then we're going to do some trees. But another option too is that you still light up the chimney, but then you focus one of those uplights back on this section, back on this section, and back on this section. But I'll tell you why I like doing the windows a little bit more, because we're going to light up these trees a little bit. So with those same accent lights that I just showed you, I would use those to accent these two trees for sure. I would probably, because I think these are really nice featured trees and you want to do a really good job of lighting up the branching structure as well as the canopy, I would probably have two lights on each of those trees. Now I'm just trying to, yeah, so I would almost try and get one kind of somewhere over on this side that kind of shines up, and then another one on this side, so you're really lighting it up from two angles. I think because of the unique branching that you have and the fact that it's got a wider canopy, you're going to want to use at least two lights on that tree. And then same thing on this guy, because it is such a tall tree, I think you're definitely going to want to use two lights on this one. The only suggestion I will make with that one is that you're going to want to use a slightly brighter bulb. So these come with a standard 4-watt LED lamp. That's what they call a 20-watt equivalent, which puts out about 250 lumens. That's the brightness. But you want to put something a little bit brighter. So a 35-watt equivalent or a 5-watt LED lamp, which would put out about 350 lumens, is going to be a better fit for a tree of this side, just because it's going to push that light up into the canopy a little bit more. And then by accenting these two trees, the chimney still is lit up really good, and then you have some background lighting on some of the stonework, but you're not lighting everything. Whereas if you were to throw an uplight back on there and back on that side of the wall, I feel like it would be lost behind these trees. So I think you want to just focus on, those small column areas. It's still going to light up a little bit of that area as well, but it's just you're more kind of focusing that light. Something else you may want to consider is with some of these bigger boulders that you have here, and I think you have a kind of a close-up. Well, even this first one here. Sorry, we'll go back. But these guys, I like using these wash lights and stuff like that. I know those boulders typically are not inexpensive. It's a great landscape feature, and I like to highlight them a little bit. By using an uplight like this, it tends to be too bright and creates a bit of a hot spot, where this is a wider angle lens and a lot softer light. And by kind of placing those, you know, maybe 2 of those in front of those rocks as well, now you're uplighting the tree a little bit higher. You have some downlighting kind of down here that is going to light these rocks. And then you've got kind of some backlighting on some of the nice stonework and brick features you have. I will give you another idea, but I think you've already got lots going on here, and I'll save it for a different area. But sometimes with these trees, and we just did a project where we used some of these hanging lights that are great. They hang from the upper branches and then shine down through, and it kind of creates this shadowing effect. We call it the moonlighting effect. So it looks like you have a full moon every single night. I don't think you need to do it here because I think we got enough going on, but I think that could be very beneficial if you did something like that here, where you mounted even just a couple of the accent lights here up in those trees using a very simple mounting bracket like this that basically just screws right into the tree, and then the fixture screws into that. And I have some videos on YouTube that you can search, just say Lighting Doctor Vancouver Island tree lighting, and you'll see how we kind of do these lights. But having 1 or 2 of those kind of up in some of these upper branches shining through and down would do the same thing that you've got going on right now, but at night you'd have that cool shadowing and moonlighting, and you could kind of angle them, you know, over here and over here. And then what it's also going to do is it's going to save the need for a bunch of extra path lights or any other down lighting or area lighting down in this area. And then I would probably look at trying to do the same over in a tree like this. Now this is a pretty massive tree, same thing. You're going to probably want to use at least 2, if not 3 accent lights on something like this, but then also increase the intensity from that 35 watt equivalent to a 50 watt equivalent lamp, which is about a 7 watt LED bulb, to really push that light up into this tree. But I'd maybe have 2 of those going up, and then you might want to have 1 or 2 somewhere up in the tree. Now it's definitely more work to get them up there, but trust me, the effect is tenfold. But having maybe 2 lights up in there shining down, and again helping light up some of this path area without the need for pathway lights, and creating this cool shadowing pattern. And I mean, you could do that in a tree like this as well. Throw 1 of those accent lights below that uplights this, and then you have 1 coming down, so you get this cool look down below, but then you're also accenting that tree from down below, so from below and above. And if you did that, I mean, that's you would have I think a cool enough project if that's all you did. But luckily you have more things on the yard to feature. So I think we got most of these trees. You know, again, this is an area where if you wanted to throw an accent light on some of these bigger boulders, you can definitely do that. I never think it hurts to accent any kind of cool trees you have in your landscape. You know, something that is probably a good start for you, Steve, is if you go back to our homepage at lightingdoctor.ca and you scroll down to our Try It Before You Buy It light. Basically what you get, or the kit, basically what you get is either these 3 lights or 1 of these lights with a battery pack that you can actually just plug it in, take some AA batteries, and then you can actually go and place that light here, go place it here and see how that looks and say, oh yeah, you know what, I do want to light this one up, or I don't want to light that one up. Also with the chimney and stuff, it gives you an idea of how far back and how close you should have it to get the best lighting effect that you're looking for. Yeah, so that's what I would do in that whole front area for sure. I think that covers most of that. We got that area. And then I will talk a little bit more about some of the pathways. I think over here, you know, you have some nice brickwork and stuff. I don't know if you're going to be able to get any lights up there to feature that area. I think if you could, that's great. But if you didn't, I think you would be okay, because this area is kind of a little bit darker and shaded. And this is really the tree that stands out. I think by focusing on this and then just focusing on this side along with some of these trees would be a really good balance. And then I'm going to recommend, you know, I like our path lights that we kind of use most commonly, kind of what you've done with the solar lights. But I'm going to show you a new light that we've just brought on. They're just manufactured. They're super popular lights right now. You pay a little bit more than you do for these guys, but you get, in my opinion, more bang for your buck. And it's these guys. It's this more modern looking path light. So it's modern looking. It's got this angle here. So especially in an area like we're talking about over here and along the front sidewalk area. Let me just get back to that picture. Sorry, Steve, yeah. So like in these areas, that's where I like that light, because those path and area lights are great. Those standard ones, if you need to light a whole 360-degree area around, but if you're just trying to cast some light, you know, a further distance, that's where these are really good, because those other path lights will typically throw light about 8 to 10 feet, whereas these will throw it up to 16 feet. So you may be paying a little more for this light, but you can use a lot less of them because you're throwing that light further. So what I would probably do is, you know, even if you had one here that's kind of angling this way, one here that's kind of angling this way, and then another one over here that's kind of angling this way, I would say 3 of those lights is going to do a really good job of lighting this whole pathway area. And it's not going to be overpowering, and you're going to have that nice, cool, modern look. And same thing on the driveway side. If you wanted to do that, kind of like you've done with the solar lights, but again, you're not going to need nearly as many. So if you look on both sides of the driveway here, you know, same thing. You might throw one over here and one on the corner that kind of shines across. It's going to do a really good job of, might not get all the way across the driveway, but it's okay. You don't need to light the whole thing up, because I know at night most cars have headlights. So all you're trying to do is create some accenting, but doing that on both sides, and then like 2 on the other side over here, you know, like over here, and have those shining across, you're going to do a really good job of lighting that whole area with only 4 of those lights. Whereas if you were to go with, you know, a typical path and area light like these guys, or like these guys, as you know, it doesn't light a whole big area, but with these new lights, it does a really good job. And these are about 200 a light, as opposed to, I think, 115 for the other ones. But like I said, you can get away with a lot fewer of them. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas, Steve. I know that's a lot of info, but take that. Let me know what you like about the ideas. If you need help customizing a kit, or have an idea of how many of each of those different kinds of lights that I talked about you might be looking for, then I can start, you know, pricing some stuff out, looking at transformers, wire, all that kind of stuff. And we can kind of go from there, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have too. Thanks, Steve. Now I'm going to show you some tree lighting examples and how we do that. Now I'm going to do it down low here. I've got my ladder. I'm going to go put it up in the tree, but it's tough to get my camera up there. So this is how we do it. We do it with these tree mount stakes, and the reason I like these is they're no maintenance. Sometimes you'll see people will mount lights to trees just using like a regular bracket, but what happens is, as that tree grows, eventually it grows right over that bracket, right over the wire and all that. So I'm going to show you how to do this properly so that you don't have to worry about that. And it's with these tree stakes. Super easy. See, the light screws actually into the top of here, and then this screws into our tree. So basically what I do is I just get it started with the hammer, get it in there a little bit, and then you can just use any screwdriver or anything. There's a little hole here, and you can just tighten that on. Keep spinning until you get it. And the nice thing about that is, now as the tree grows, it's easy to go and back that off. So as the tree starts getting wider and starts getting closer to the end, all you have to go do is do the opposite now, and you can just slowly back that off a little bit. So that's why I like that. Once you got it in there, pretty simple. Then your fixture is just a 1/2 inch thread, just pops in there and screws in. Now I don't have this all the way in, so it's not going to be super steady, but it'll give you the right idea. And then you just make your adjustments, shine it down. One thing I will say is, anytime you're doing downlighting, something you do want to do is get one of these hex baffles. I don't know if you can see this little honeycomb. Sorry, this bee's bugging me here. This little honeycomb shaped filter. Basically what that does is this goes underneath the lens. And then now, when that's shining down, it helps deflect the glare, because especially with downlights that are shining down, if you walk right under it, or kind of in the proximity of it, sometimes it's shining right in your eye. What this does, it helps deflect that a little bit, so it's not as bright in your eye. And then lastly, the other question I get is how do you go and secure the wire to the tree? Because you can leave it just dangling like this, which is great, but then it's visible and people don't always like that. So how you can go secure that is actually just use these zip ties with screw holes in it. Again, another reason that we use those is because it's easy to go and back that screw off as that tree grows bigger. Because so many times I see people who just screw the wire or staple it to the tree or something, and then within a year or two you can't find that wire anymore because the tree's grown right over it. Well, this eliminates that. And basically all you do now is you go and you screw that zip tie to the tree, and then you can go now put the zip tie around the wire, and then you can secure it to the tree. But what it does too is not only does it keep it from the tree growing around it, but as that tree grows, now the wire has some play so it can grow with it. So at the base, anytime you do tree lighting, you want to leave a little bit of wire coiled up and buried so that tree can grow, and you just keep pulling that wire up. And if you need to, over time, you can back this off. That's how you keep lights in trees for a long, long time. And with the lights that we use, they're designed for that. They're not designed to only be up there for 3 to 5 years. They're designed to be up there for as long as you want them to. So that's how you go properly mount a light in a tree to get that cool downlighting effect we talk about all the time. Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. I hope you guys got some great tips, and I hope you guys take advantage of your own free video consultation where you can send me a few pictures of your property, and I'm gonna get back to you with your own personalized video presentation with all kinds of tips and tools of how to go and light your own property. So to get that, go check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or just email me a few pictures of your property at cal@lightingdoctor.ca.